Hi there, this is Dan with Hope Point Myo. I wanted to just do a quick video to kind of clarify the purpose of the tooth pillow, of the MyoBrace, Healthy Start, and Munchie. When I first started checking into those, I was under the impression that they themselves were like braces braces, not in that they attach to the teeth, but a brace in the mouth that guides or moves teeth themselves. But the more I research and the more I learn about them, I have learned that's not quite how they work. The purpose of them is, first of all, we have to look at, well, what's the need for them? And the reason why children are growing narrow palates and small airways and underdeveloped jaws is because, or what they're estimating, or the only thing they can figure out for now, is that the tongue is in the wrong place. And when the tongue is not up in the roof of the mouth, the tongue is what naturally shapes the arch of our palates. And when the tongue is not up but it's down, then there's nothing there to shape it, and therefore the palate is narrow. That also, the septum of the nose is attached to the palate, but also the floor of the nose. And when that's high arched, then that tends to bend, and just everything is smaller in this area when this is more narrow. All this is narrow, and you can see it in my own mouth and jaw. So the idea is to correct that while they're growing, instead of waiting till they get 12 years old and everything's grown and done moving, and now we're going to move something that's fixed and already developed. I know for me, I had 4 premolars pulled, and then they straightened the teeth, and so now everything's small, and I'm prone to sleep apnea, sleep disordered breathing, which I am on I have it, but I'm trying to keep from having it. But so we're trying to guide that growth before you get to the point to where it's already an issue. And I've done a video earlier about how you put out the fire when you first see the smoke, or put out the smoke rather than waiting for it to become a fire. Myofunctional therapy is designed to train that tongue to go back up at the roof of the mouth, to have our lips sealed, which that acts as natural braces. With our tongue up, those are palate, lips around it can do the natural braces and pulling the teeth in the way they're supposed to be, so everything develops the way it's supposed to. And then correct swallow so that the tongue is functioning the way it's supposed to. I see in my hygiene chair very often, and just teeth messed up because the tongue is pushing on it day after day, every time they eat, every time they talk a lot of times, and the force of that tongue is very powerful and moves the teeth. So when everything is where it's supposed to be and functioning the way it's supposed to function, then ideally the whole mouth grows the way it's supposed to grow. Genetics do play a role in that as well, I've seen that. But one thing that can cause the tongue to not be up or not swallow correctly is a tongue tie. And that's where, again, myofunctional therapy, we recognize that, we do the exercises, we get that treated. But that's the whole purpose of the myofunctional therapy. The role of these growth guidance appliances like ToothPillow, MyoBrace, Healthy Start, and MyoMunchie, and even Spot Pal, there's one Spot Pal, is to reinforce the tongue posture, the correct swallow, the lips closed, breathing through the nose during the downtime. So when you do myofunctional therapy, you're doing the exercises. So it's like me going to the gym and working out, but having something that you can do just during your downtime, you don't have to think about it, but still reinforce that correct posture. That's the purpose of these. For most of them, like the MyoBrace and the Healthy Start, you would do that, or the children do that while they're sleeping. And the benefit to that is growth hormones are released while children are sleeping and sleeping well. The downfall to that is when children have like blocked airways from adenoids or tonsils and things like that, then they're not breathing well, and they won't keep that in their mouth all night because they can't breathe and it's an obstruction there. So in order for it to accurately work, you have to make sure they can breathe through their nose and the whole airway is open. And very oftentimes it's not. If a child already has these issues, it's very common to have enlarged tonsils and adenoids. So it's definitely something to check out with an ENT when you're doing all this. A myofunctional therapist should direct you in that as well. But there is one difference with the MyoMunchie. It also works in developing the jaw because you actually munch on it. It doesn't just help with correct posture and swallowing, but you chew on it a little bit. The kids chew on it, and some kids just love that. But that chewing motion can help build the jaw, develop the jaw. It helps with periodontal growth and circulation to help your gums stay healthy, and it kind of actually cleans the teeth as well, almost better than some kids with a toothbrush. So that's beneficial because they also feel like our jaws are underdeveloped because we're not chewing enough and functioning enough with those. So that the MyoMunchie helps with that. I recommend those to a lot of patients. And if you think about the growth growth guidance appliance. It's like if a child is growing and the back's growing crooked or even scoliosis, if they catch it early enough, they can put them in a back brace so that the rest of the growth would continue to go up rather than when they're already done growing, you're stuck here. And now the only thing they really can do, or that they know to do, I think there's more they could do, but is surgery to, if it's really bad, to correct it. And the same with if we can guide the growth when children are young, which is before 6. Some doctors will say fix before 6 because that's when they're fully rapidly growing. And if you catch it while it's growing, you can guide it to the right position. But if they're already about 6 or after, then the bulk of that growth is done and it's too late to catch up to where they need to be. So at that point, you generally need to do a rapid palate expander where you put that expander in the roof of the mouth. And you don't want to do arch wire expansion because that's just doing the peripheral and is not impacting the grow or the opening up of the center. That's happened with my daughter and she had to get a deviated septum correction. But if you have the palate expansion from the middle expanding out, it opens up this airway as well, which then helps the child breathe and helps in the future, not just present. So then once you do the rapid palate expander, you get them caught up to where they need to be at that point. Then you can continue with definitely myofunctional therapy to train everything to be where it's supposed to be, to create that habit. And you could do a growth appliance if you wanted at that point, not necessary, but do a growth appliance at that point to just keep things going the way they need to go. With that, there's never a guarantee that the child won't have to have braces, but it should definitely help beforehand. And if they do have to have braces, it would be minimal compared to where they would be starting out again at 12 when you have all these issues and you waited for everything to get settled. Now you start acting on that and it just causes all kinds of issues. And that's why a lot of you parents are checking into this, because you are the ones suffering from it not working or messing up TMJ, the joints there, and all kinds of stuff, breathing issues and stuff. So just wanted to give you a heads up. That's what, from my understanding, the MyoBrace, Healthy Start, ToothPillow, all those appliances, growth guidance appliances, that's how they work. They don't actually move the teeth. They just reinforce good posture, which that is what functions to get the teeth where they need to be.